Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. The Library of Congress is now the permanent home for a collection of thousands of videotaped interviews detailing the Black experience. The archive is called the HistoryMakers, and it's the largest African-American oral history video collection in the country. The first-person accounts are from well-known and unsung African-Americans who talk about their struggles, dreams, and achievements. I'm pleased to welcome three of those history makers to American Black Journal: entrepreneur and former football star Mel Farr, Motown legend Martha Reeves, and renowned tenor and educator George Shirley. Thanks for being here. This is probably the most powerful, star-studded cast I've had on this show. I grew up sort of idolizing and listening and watching all of you. So it's a real honor for me to have you here on American Black Journal.
Well,
Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah. So tell me about the project. I mean, that's something that you're giving these oral histories to the Library of Congress.
Well, you know, Juliana, several years ago, thought of the idea of archiving the events of Black history makers,
Right.
And she's done a great job, I tell you, of getting that information and archiving it so that our grandkids and grandkids could to see what we've done. And,
right.
So I think that that's very important. What she's done, and we really need to take our hat off to her.
Right, right. And you guys are also going to schools to talk to young kids about this stuff, just to remind people where we all come from, right?
Yes, my visit to the Duke Ellington School of Performing Arts was really exciting. Some of his relatives are actually there. Some of his.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
as students.
As students,
really?
And it gave me quite a concert. Very talented babies being trained in the right way. I always give advice to, if you want to be in this business or to excel in it, learn from professors, from learned professors,
right.
Similar to the one sitting to my right, who was my teacher in high school.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
I did not know
Yes,
that.
I'm very happy to be here to express how important History Makers is. Juliana Richardson has given me the privilege of seeing a lot of her concerts and her exposés of different scientists.
Right.
I learned a lot of things about our history. You got to know where you've been in order to know where you're going.
Sure.
And she's making a wonderful contribution to the world with her videotaped interviews.
Yeah.
This collection is not only for us, it's for everyone here in this country and in the world, because this is available to anybody who can tap into it.
Sure.
It's extremely important, not only for our people, but for others to know not only what those of us who've had the opportunity to perform and be in front of the public on the world stages, but also to know what people have contributed over the years who don't make the media, who don't get into the headlines.
Right, right.
These are people who, doctors, lawyers, business persons, youngsters need to know that there's a wide range of possibility for it. I have, over the past 3 or 4 years, visited public schools, elementary schools in Ann Arbor, where I live. And the children are the hardest audiences in the world, but they are eager, they're sponges, they're eager to hear what you have to say, and the message always is, stay in school. Don't let anyone talk you out of completing your education.
What you want to do and your dreams.
Because there are tremendous influences outside that will tell you, oh, you don't need to go to school, you can make it on your own, and that's not the message that young people need to hear.
Yeah.
It's hard work, it's frustrating, but it pays big dividends.
Yeah, yeah. It strikes me that all three of you came of age at a time when it was really different, especially for African Americans in terms of opportunity. And I'm not sure that young people today quite appreciate the the difference and how difficult it could be.
Yeah, you know, for the last 3 years, I have gone to King High School, and we have the freshmen come to the audience, as the audience there. And one of the things that I talk to them about is, and which I think is the most important thing you can do, is set goals. You know, you got to have some goals. You know, if you don't have any goals, you don't know in what direction you're going to go. You know, so you know, I talk to them about goal setting. You know, because I think at that age, you know, goal setting is so very important in what they're going to be. Because if you don't set any goals, then you're apt to go to the wrong direction. You know, your goals is the thing that keeps you on the straight and narrow. You know, and so I think it's just great that Juliana has, with the HistoryMakers, have gotten us to come back and go into the high schools and talk to the kids about their education and about obtaining, you know, those goals in life. Because you know, I say, you know, what is happiness? You know, it's happiness, eating and drinking and being merry and everything is going my way with the absence of conflict of tension. But happiness is as you accomplish your goals and objectives in life, the happier you are. So most important thing, if you're going to, you know, and I say, first thing I say is, how many out here want to be sad? Nobody. Right? Nobody. Right? How many wants to be happy? Everybody. I say, hey, so hey, this is a way that you can, what you can do in order to achieve happiness.
Yeah. You know, when you started the dealership after your football career, I imagine though that being African American, that was something that probably some people said, hey, you know what, you can't do this.
Well, you know, it's amazing how things happen. You know, my father was a car dealer in Beaumont, Texas, you know, and he was a used car dealer. So my brother and my father and I, we used to go to the junkyard, get cars, and fix them up and sell them. All right.
Right.
And so, ironically, you know, I get drafted by the Detroit Lions. I come here, and boy, there was a riot here. All right. And at that time, Henry Ford II said, you know what, we're going to make automobile agencies available to African Americans.
To African Americans, right.
And so I said, wow, you know, that's the brother of the guy who owns the Lions, right? So you know what I did is I went to and got a job at Ford Motor Company, and for 7 years I worked at Ford Motor Company to learn the retail automotive business. Yeah. And so when I quit playing football, boom, I stepped right into business and grew the largest African American business in the country.
Yeah, yeah. And thinking about that sort of second act, I think, is something that that I can feel all three of you have done. I mean, you with the dealership, of course, Councilwoman Reeves, you went into politics.
I was also one of the first artists on Motown to go on the Motown Review.
Right, that's right.
They grouped at least 12 acts on a 12-piece band, put us on a broken down trailway and had us tour the United States. And I've seen segregated audiences become intimate at the end of a show, hugging and kissing people who they wouldn't speak to prior to the show starting. Right. Having been growing up in the church, having at age of 3 at my grandfather's church, win candy with my 2 older brothers singing gospel, and having that as roots in my life, knowing that prayer, answered prayer, is the result of, I'm the result of a product of good teachers, but answered prayer. Right. Yes, having faith, knowing that it's God's talent, and He's our director. Right.
Mr. Shirley, yeah, I'm always struck at black classical musicians and the sort of struggle that they must encounter, just in terms of surprise, really, that they do that. It's just not something that I think a lot of people think of when they think of African American artists.
Well, one of the things that I'm most proud of is the fact that I've been blessed with the opportunity to make a career and become successful at doing something that most people didn't expect me to do. Right. And that's God's doing. Yeah. Because when I was in school in Detroit, you couldn't drag me to an opera. Yeah. You know, spirituals, growing up in the church, art songs, yes, I loved symphonic music, but I thought opera was pretty silly. Yeah. But it was when I was in the Army that someone said, you know, you have the stuff to become an opera singer. So I thought, well, since someone's said that, who's been there and done it, I didn't want to come back to Detroit to resume my teaching career, which was interrupted by the military draft.
By the military, sure.
I didn't want to come back without taking the chance. I thought, well, if I come back and resume teaching, and I have a really talented student who shows career potential, well, I'm not going to tell him about the business. I don't know anything about it. Yeah. So I gave myself 2 years to find out about it, and it went further than I thought,
Yeah,
which
right.
simply means for me that when I walked out on stage, this little company up in Woodstock, New York, to make my debut in Deflator Mouse, I knew I was doing what I was born to do.
Yeah.
So God guides. It's interesting that Mel talks about goal setting. Two of the disciplines in education that have come under tremendous attack and are still under attack are music and sports.
Right. Sports and arts, that's right.
But both of which are about goal setting.
Yeah.
The football player, you have to have a goal in mind when you get the ball.
Right.
And you learn how to do what you need to do to get there and achieve that goal.
Yeah.
Same with music. You have a performance to give, and you have to work to do it. And these are disciplines that teach young people how to pursue their goals. And unfortunately, people who are responsible for education these days don't understand that it's not so much about becoming a professional football player, a professional musician. It's about training the brain, the mind to think in certain ways.
And that discipline. Councilman, I know you do a lot of work with young people, sort of encouraging arts education and things like that.
And I let them know that I'm just a product of good teachers. Had I not had a commercial course in high school, I could never have made it at Motown because I was a secretary for 9 months before I went on tour.
Right.
Because I had the skills, because I could answer a phone properly, and because I knew how the protocol of an office procedure. So it's all about getting in where you fit in. But if you have your education, you can do all things.
Yeah.
through Christ.
So now you said that he was your teacher in high school. Where was it?
Miller.
At Miller High School.
Yes,
Miller High School.
I was there for 2 years, and then they made it a junior high and sent us to Northeastern High School, where I learned to sing opera.
I was going to say, you know, we have two singers on the panel here. We'll be lucky if we...
Silver was my teacher. He allowed me Henry Ford Auditorium doing Bach's aria. And that was my debut. 4,500 people. Then I got bit by the bug. I wanted to be in show business.
Right. So tell me how you defined Motown, of course, and how did you get from where you were to there?
Just having the skills.
Yeah.
I had been trained in high school to sing. So I went there already full of the knowledge of singing.
Right.
Plus I also used to listen to the radio while I washed the dishes in my house, because I'm a family of 11 children.
Right.
Dad worked for the city of Detroit, so I'd sing opera as I washed dishes.
Those are great.
So I had classical roots.
Yeah. So, you know, and these are the stories people can hear in the History Makers. So it's really great to have you guys here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us
me today.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Stephen.
Steve.